All right, very pleased to be joined now by Curt Malawsky, the head coach and general manager of the Vancouver Warriors. Curt, thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Curt Malawsky, we had him on last week as well. So obviously, since we last spoke, your team was eliminated from the NLL playoffs in the second round. It seemed like a pretty close series from an outsider's perspective. What were some of the deciding factors in that series in your mind?
Well, Buffalo, as you know, they're the two-time champs. I really think like we run a bracket in the NLL, so you get the top top 8 teams go into a bracket, and we were put into the bracket with Buffalo, and I'm good friends with the GM. He's kind of like the bracket of death kind of idea. There's, we were in there, Rochester, San Diego, and like I said, the Buffalo two-time champs. So we knew it was going to be tough. I fully believe whoever was going to win our series was going to go on and win the NLL championship. I still do believe that, Buffalo. But you know what? They have a lot of experience. We talk to our guys about what it takes and what you need to do in the playoffs. And we have a mantra. It's like, whatever it takes, no matter what. And they know what that means. It's like sometimes you kind of bend the rules, skirt the rules, and, play by intimidation. They've just been through the wars and you can't really replicate it. So I think the experience was a big part. Playing in Buffalo, we won the regular season game. So I think our guys felt real comfortable there. But I think at the end of the day, they were different in the playoffs. Their fans were different. They were loud, they were in our face. And and then so we weren't great on the first night, but then coming home, I thought we had a really good night. I think the turning point of the game and then eventually the series was 8-6 for us. We came out of the half hot and got up to 8-6, hit 2 bars. And I think if it went to 10-6, I think we're going to be good with our defense and goaltending, but they were able to come back within 1. And then we had a terrible, I think, a selfish penalty. And then that kind of started their run, and that was the end of us.
As a coach, can you just take us through what it's like when your team goes through a hard-fought playoff elimination, what it's like sort of walking into the locker room and just what kind of message you give your players after a really strong and promising season overall, but ultimately a tough playoff elimination as well?
Yeah, that was a tough one. I was kind of, for me, I've always been a hard on the sleeve type guy. And, just walking in there, I'd be lying to you if I didn't feel like I was going to break down. And you see all the guys, and I know it's professional sports, but and they're men, but there's a lot of wet eyes and a lot of guys that were pretty upset and tearing it in there. So I did everything I could to kind of hold it together and have that poise in the room, but it was tough. It's gut wrenching. Every year you kind of look at your team and you say you're 4-14, but when you take it on, then you get to 8-10, then you get to 11-7, and then you're hosting, you're playing in the semifinal. So, there is some good things, but at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to be NLL champions, and we didn't get that done. And, I think that the toughest part is knowing that your room will not be the same. The guys battled hard for each other. They knew, I guarantee it won't be the same next year. And I just don't know. You just don't know who's going to go and who's going to come. And but that's the hardest part. I felt for the guys that I kind of apologize in a way. We didn't get it done. We have some older guys that might not be here next year, and we didn't get it done for them. And I think that was the part that was really upsetting. And but then you spend some time to digest and realize that overall the season was a success. We just didn't get that step, but we do gain that experience, what it takes to get there.
When you look at the year your team had as a whole, what are you most proud of?
I think the fans. I just really think we turned. I honestly feel with a ton of help with the organization, everybody involved. I think we really, not that Vancouver lacrosse wasn't on the map before. It's a hotbed of lacrosse in our country, in Canada, and everyone talks about Ontario. But for years, the Vancouver Warriors really wasn't a desired place to play. So you kind of feel really proud about the last game, and throughout the whole year, our fans were outstanding. We broke attendance records. We were able to have 2 home playoff games, and the fans just, I said it after my post game, the kids hanging over the rails, and they're able to get access to our guys, and it's pretty heartwarming. I come from Calgary, coaching there, and you get some nights you get guaranteed 15 usually on a big game, and anywhere from 10 to we've been up to 19 in that building. So that really, we had that atmosphere that really reminded me of Calgary, which is like, and that's a long and storied franchise, and we're just kind of getting our feet wet. So I really think that, the biggest thing for me, the proudest thing was that we straightened it. We right the ship. It's going in the right direction. Our fans came out big time. And I think, we talked about growing the game in British Columbia when I took the job 2 years ago now. And I think we're on the right trajectory, and with the support of, with our organization and Aquilini Group has been outstanding, but it added the fans and the community. I think that's probably the most thing I'm proud of.
What's next for your organization, and just what the NLL offseason will look like for you?
We're going to be super aggressive in free agency. We have the backing of our ownership group, and they, when I took the job, they said we're not going to lose players over money, and we're going to be aggressive in free agency. Where in the past we weren't able to do that in Calgary. So we're excited about that. Obviously, about the big trade with Christian Delbianco that we made. I don't have a first round pick this year, but it was calculated in the fact that we didn't give up like some people. Yeah, you got to give up five first round picks. We didn't have to do that. So we only had to give up 1 year. So we have to eat 1 year. We have the first pick in the second round. So it's only a couple, we gave up 10. We're probably picking 16 or 17 with the comp picks. So we're not far off there. So really our season, it's a freeze until the season's over. So the roster freezes and no trades can be made. But as soon as that opens up at the end of the last game, which could be the middle of May, latter part of May, we're able to make trades again. So there's some teams will try to maybe unload some of their UFAs that they can't sign, which gives, like, if we wanted to pick up somebody and give us exclusive rights until August 1st, that's when UFA hits in our league. We have the ability to do that. And then there's franchise tag players that each team can franchise someone. It's either 32 years at a lower, so 30 years old to 32, you can franchise tag and they can't reject. 32 years old and older, they can reject. So we could do that to try to get some exclusive rights, or we just play it and let it get to free agency. So the other thing that was really big for us in the offseason here is that because we brought in Christian, because we had a lot of success, I think that really we're going to be an attractive place to play. Not only like we get treated very, very well with Canucks Sports and Entertainment, but now we have a legit chance. Like I can call free agents last year and say, hey, come to Vancouver. We got a real good team. We're a good trajectories are great. But then they're always like, but you don't have a goalie. Not that Walshy wasn't good. Don't get me wrong. He just hasn't proven himself yet. But there's only one Christian Delbianco. And I think that in itself is a massive recruiting tool. And our league is a lot different than the NHL. Like our guys will phone guys and they'll talk to guys and talk to their friends. They come here and, it's not all about the mighty dollar in our league. It's like guys want to win championships. Guys want to be here with their families. So I think us being very aggressive in free agency based on how we did, I think we take advantage of that, but it's going to be busy. I do think we need a couple guys up front to put us over the top. Buffalo's offense was so good. So we'll be targeting a couple offensive guys. I like to get a little bit bigger, stronger on the back end. And then I would like to be able to, what we call transition guys running out the back end that can score in transition and just before we had settled 5-on-5 offense. So right-handed transition guys. So we got our work cut out for us in the offseason.
Just curious, how many franchise tags does a team get?
One. So you have one tag. So so there's teams out there that are in a position where if you don't really manage your free agents, like hypothetically speaking, you have two 30-year-olds which reach UFA status, you can tag one up and the other one can walk. So what teams will try to do is don't have them stacked in the same year so that they all come out different, or try to get someone to sign through their UFA status, because there's UFA status at 30 until you hit 32. And then once you be turning 33 that year, you can reject the tag. So that would be 92 birth year. That's how we kind of do it in the NLL, is we go by the birth year. So 92s this year are UFAs that can reject tags. So there's a lot of those guys around the league. So, we're making that trade for Christian. We were very comfortable giving up our 25 first round pick because we know there's a handful of 92s that we think that are from BC that are absolute, impact players that we can get. So it was all kind of played into that. So, we're getting to the point now we have to start managing some of our UFAs as we go down, and not just, some teams will rely on the fact, they're not going to leave anywhere. Well, next thing you know, they're gone. So we have to make sure that we're ahead of it too, and not resting on any recent success.
I had more of a lifestyle question. Obviously, in the NHL, guys are paid millions of dollars. It's a very different sort of thing in lacrosse. For the average player, what's the lifestyle balance as far as are these guys playing lacrosse full time as a career? Do they have side jobs? Do they work on lacrosse, fully during the season and then have summer gigs? How does the lifestyle sort of work, especially because, travel's involved in the season as well?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Just for me, I'm an electrician at Park Royal. I took my work clothes off and sat in front of my computer. So it's like a lot of us, a majority of the players, especially the older established guys, we got firemen on the team, we got construction guys on the team. And it's like, a lot of guys, depending on their job, they have to use their holidays. They have to dip into their holiday fund, and knowing when we're going to be, heading on the road. And if we play a Friday on the road, that's 2 days that you're going to miss. And you got the Friday, the Thursday, Friday, and it's not easy. So the young guys that are maybe anywhere from maybe 25 to 27, 28, they're just play in both lacrosse leagues. They'll play in the major series in Ontario or the Western Lacrosse Association in BC, or they'll play in the PLL. So a lot of those guys can have a full-time job. You can make pretty good money at it, and for so long, and then eventually, like I say, real life reality sets in, and then guys start getting careers and stuff like that. So it's a good segue to getting a good career, and just enjoy it while you can. But eventually, most of our guys, like I said, are firemen or they're working in construction or guys at Lafarge. There's still a lot of guys like that. So it's not a full-time. Obviously the league wants to get to be the next main sport, but we're not there yet. So now it's really, that's kind of like that brings a lot of that family feeling into it, because the guys are working their 9 to 5 or so to speak, and then they're coming to play lacrosse at night, and they get to kind of put the superhero cape on and play in front of all these people, which is pretty cool. And we're all really fortunate to have this league. So I think our guys take nothing for granted. So, and I think that also helps us being so accessible. Our guys are they're regular dudes. Like I walk around the shopping center and, hey coach, great job, or this and that. Hey, how was the team? It's really neat. And same thing with our guys. You can probably go to fire call and it's like, you're the captain of the Warriors. So it's kind of neat. It keeps everybody really grounded and appreciative and humbled that we have this opportunity.
For you personally, I don't even want to say away from lacrosse, away from the Warriors. We know you're involved in youth lacrosse. What's your off season look like here?
Well, I coach my son's Maple Ridge U15 A1 team, so I'm actually getting on the ferry tomorrow to the Nanaimo to a tournament. And I'm also running the provincial team for the BCLA, so Team BC we call it, which is all the top kids in the province, and then we'll go to nationals in Halifax. And then last year, my son got traded to the Minto Cup Championship, Cole Madnax. And believe it or not, part of the deal was I had to commit to coaching in the Langley Junior Thunder. So it was like I put it out there, and before I could let it sit there, the guy's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, really? I didn't know that was on the table." So we did a little bit of negotiation. So I'm a man of my word. So I'm going to be helping. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong; it's not a chore. I'm excited to go out with the Langley Junior Thunder and help those guys out, and along with the U15s and then the Team BC. So I'll try to get up. I'm in the rinks all the time doing scouting and recruiting. So super busy summer. It slows down a little bit after free agency in August, and we head to Halifax. But there's no other place that I'd rather be. My family's fully engaged. My wife loves lacrosse. She's with me all the time watching games and stuff. So it's a whole family thing. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Curt, thanks so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, guys. I love the show.
Awesome. There he is, Curt Malawsky, official friend of the show. He's been on twice now. We'll have him back on again. Curt, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
All right. And that was Curt Malawsky, again, the head coach and general manager of the Vancouver Warriors. Our thanks to him.